That furnace change out with an AC on this one. Line set comes in the back, so when we get the furnace tore out, thank God he's doing the furnace, otherwise we would have had to somehow solder back in here probably. But the air cleaner comes out the back, and that's got to stay that way, so we kept the furnace flat on the left. Because we'll never get the filter out this way. Okay, we're moving right along here. We got the drop tore out, gas is out. The AC was empty when I got here. Killed the wasps that were out there, and we're gonna keep going. These last two jobs, they had the old XL Energy boxes, and remember how they used to go up into here, and then they had those clamps going on to the wires in here. Well, they must have started running into problems with that setup, because now they just come in here and let's see, that's this one. See, they always plug onto the bottom of the contactor on the newer ones, just like that. So that way they can't get into any trouble with us contractors saying, hey, you were monkeying with our wires, and we started going through compressors. So big deal. From now on, I'm going to start telling them, I'm going to disconnect them and tell them to reconnect them. That's what I'm going to start doing on my jobs where I see those old ones. I checked out yesterday pretty well, so I think it's probably all right. Okay, furnace is tore out. We're going to carry it out of here. We're going to add on to that line set and just stub it out front here long enough to hit the coil. Bent this suction line in, soldered on a piece because it was cut off back here. Is our coil. It went into the coil in the back before. So I added on to both lines. Tubing bender. Height of the coil, suction line in the coil should be right there. And hopefully I can just throw a street 90 on here and get into my coil if I measured and bent that right in there. So we're going to sweep this up and get going. Just slide my insulation back on there and get the furnace. Corey's got that base mounted on here. Air cleaner's ready to go back on. He just went up to get a Sawzall. He's going to hack that open. Slide this in here, put the air cleaner on, slide that in there. The coil on there. Drop back on. Probably wait till the end of the day to put the drop back on so it's not in our way. I got this all ran. I'm going to put my filter right here. Hopefully just cut this off and throw street 90 into the coil. Corey's putting pads on. To go, I forgot I had to flush, so I put that loop of 3/8 in there, and now when I solder outside we'll flush the existing line set that we're keeping. Owner had some class 5 out there, said I could use it, so I'm gonna level this up because we're kind of in a hole here, and get this set. So I got my pad marked, line sets bent in there. I'm just going to shove that in and get the nitrogen flowing and solder this up. We got a loop all the way through the inside, and then we'll flush. And hopefully Corey will be ready to solder by then. Nitrogen flowing here. We gave it a good blast, so it's made its way through the loop here. And we're going to run about 3 or 4 psi while we're brazing here. So Corey's getting ready to throw his union on. Gas will be done. It's wired. And then we got low voltage. I'm going to solder this line set in now. I just flushed it. So yeah, I'm going to put my filter right there. And this will, ooh, perfect, street 90 right in. Okay, we've been holding pressure here for quite some time, and that gauge has not moved a bit, so I'm gonna call that good and get the vacuum running here. Okay, we're getting to the end here. Getting ready to check it out pretty quick. All we got left is a chimney and a drain line. Throw this drop on here. A couple zip ties on this line set. Yeah. Chimney in there. And checking our fan speed for our 90, 17, 14. 90,000 BTUs, 17 and a half wide, 1400 CFM. That's how you read that model number. It's N8 MS. No, that's the old model number. It's N9. No. N80 ESN. Right? Is that what it is?
Can we do me a favor?
Yeah, N80 ESN.
Hold this right here.
Yeah, Corey needs help. I gotta go. Anyway, looking at this, high speed from the factory, 1210. We got a 3-ton air, so we're gonna leave it right there. And we will adjust the blue tap for heating if need be, depending on temperature rise. It's been running for quite some time here. I'm gonna shut her down and cut this charge loose. These are your service valves. Refrigerant flows from the little one in and back out on the big insulated one. And you're going to want to crack the big one or the suction side first. And just back that all the way out until you hit the top, and then give it a little bit, but not too tight at the top. And then put the cap on snug. The most common place for ACs to leak is right here when they don't protect those valves with wet rags when they're soldering. You want to heat that up quick and get off and cool it down before you wreck the O-rings in these valves. Because when you get one that needs refrigerant every year, it's typically leaking out through there over the winter from underneath these caps. So that cap is your final seal. And if you don't have the Schrader valve caps on, you're just asking for trouble, because those will leak for sure. That's your final seal. This one will get locking caps because there's a new law. Kids were huffing or whatever. Anyway, we're going to crack these and button this up and then go check the furnace out. Checking our combustion. Gas pressure. Temperature rise, doing it all. This worked out mint.
So it's 57 is your rise. 56, 57.
57, okay. Doing our last checks here, then we'll get some pictures and a final video. So we are charging this AC by subcooling method because we have a TXV in the house. Subcooling, 11 degrees. And the way we do subcooling is temperature of the liquid line subtracted from the saturation temperature on the high side here, which is right now 70 degrees. That pink number, 200 psi, correlates with 70 degrees for 410A. CR 410A right there. So right now we have a negative 4 degrees subcooling. So we need to add refrigerant until that temperature of the liquid line drops 11 degrees below that. So when we add refrigerant, that's probably going to go up and that's going to go down. Speed here and cooling. And you got all the dampers open. That's almost perfect static. She's bumping around 0.5, 0.55. So we're liking that. Total static pressure in the blower compartment and below the coil.
What's that?
0.53, 0.55. This is it. Done deal.
Done deal.
Temp rise 57.
Yeah, I kind of amped that up a little bit. Helps thick and reasons.
We got a new furnace and air, combustion analysis, and get a nice picture. At 70 on the line temp, and what the heck? Oh, I disconnected that. Anyway, we were at 80 over here. Sorry. So we're close enough. We're supposed to have 11. We had 10. That's a wrap. Okay, we got baby spiders living in this air conditioner we just took out.
Look at all of them.
What are we gonna do? You guys got to move because we're doing business. Oh, he's going down. Can't get it.
You're too close. You gotta back up a little bit, and then there you go. Now let it focus, and then zoom in.
I don't know what kind